Welcome back to another video. I appreciate all the support you guys gave me on the last one, so I'm here to try it again. I actually kind of like doing these videos face to face, but today, or face to camera. Today we're going to be looking at this Secretron 400-foot diver watch. And what I've been reading about it is it has something to do with Breitling. I'm not exactly sure what, because there's no signifier on the case or movement that it's by Breitling, but it takes a Felsen movement, which some of the other Breitling models did. So today we're going to look at this very, very dirty diver watch. It just required a clean and overhaul, a mainspring, and a second hand. So here we go. This back initially was quite tight, and so it required this metal case wrench. Usually you can get them off with the 8008 Bergeon black rubber ball, the 8 ball, to unscrew it so that you don't scratch, but this one was on there quite tight, probably because it's a diver, and so it needed that more heavy tool. Yeah. The automatic rotor actually swings quite well without any cleaning or lubrication at all, which is a very good sign that the watch is in good shape. A lot of times that middle rotor pinion is loose in the plate, or the bushing or jewel is so worn that that rotor is just wobbly in there, but luckily this one was in good shape. Just gonna remove the stem here. All that grime. Movement ring. And drop her out of the case. What a pretty dial. This dial is in such good condition. There's a little bit of wear around the edges just where it presses against the case on the inside, but I mean, this is in phenomenal condition. Got to remove the hands here. And I don't know if you'll notice, a bit of lume actually came out of the hand, which maybe was avoidable, maybe not. I don't know how loose it was in the hand, so maybe user error, but that dropped out of there. It was already broken to begin with, but we want to preserve as much of that patinaed lume as possible. Here we're going to take the precious balance out of there first. And I believe I'm taking the movement apart without the dial being off. Generally, you want to take the dial off and then throw the movement on a movement holder. But with this repair, I did it backwards, I guess. Move that balance. Now we can begin disassembling the train, or the automatic works of this watch. Unlock that rotor wheel. This is actually a really simple automatic system, which is really nice. A lot of times they're wonky because different companies have different patents and everybody tried to improve the way the reverser reels were, and they probably could have just used that Seiko magic lever, but besides the point, this is Swiss and before all that, and this had a reverser wheel. Take this main plate off, or this main automatic plate off. There's everything goes flying. I've removed the click to the automatic ratchet. And there's that little reverser wheel, kind of sliding action wheel. Now I know it gets kind of dark when I put my hands over using the tweezer and screwdriver, and I'm going to improve the lighting of where I work. But it's pretty key to use a tweezer when unscrewing screws, because if you slip, you mar up anything, and with vintage stuff, you definitely don't want to do that. Move the barrel bridge. And the click, actually the click screw and barrel bridge screw are one. Just goes right through the click and barrel bridge into the main plate. That's kind of a going barrel style for the mainspring barrel. This is just a bridge for the center and sweep seconds pinion. Center wheel and sweep seconds pinion. It's a Felsa 4009. Sweep seconds pinion, bridge, and power fork bridge. I also tried a different camera angle too. Usually I was working with the camera right in front of me and I literally can't see what I'm doing, but I'm doing it. So this time I had from like 12 o'clock towards me. Which I don't know how it worked. It worked out okay. This is the date changer. This date mechanism was kind of funky. This is my first time doing a Felsa 4009 and it was interesting to work with, to say the least. It has a day indicator and a date indicator, and there's no automatic jumper for it. There's no quick set. This is the bridge that holds on the date click and the intermediate wheel and minute wheel, and that advancement wheel for the date. This is just a plate that holds that date ring around, another plate another bridge rather, that holds the date ring around, as well as an intermediate wheel for the date adjuster. Minute wheel, intermediate wheel, date advancement wheel. This is the keyless works bridge. Set lever, and forgot to put some Radico down to carry the spring, to hold the spring. Take that center wheel out. Again, did not use that alcohol again. It just seemed so clean. I didn't feel the need to. Remove the mainspring from the barrel. Put that precious balance in one of the baskets. First is a bath of ammonia solution, 3 rinses, and a dry. Each about 4 to 5 minutes each, but I cut that time out. Now we begin assembling the train works. Escape wheel, 4th wheel, and then the center wheel, just to put that bridge down, because that goes under the 3rd wheel, which connects to the sweep seconds pinion, you'll see. Wish it wasn't so dark. Oil for the sweep seconds pinion and center wheel. And that's 90-10 oil, by the way. There's the 3rd wheel with that seconds pinion wheel on top connecting it, and a little D5 for the set lever screw. train bridge. And right here is the best feeling ever. You try to wiggle, and then you just lay that main bridge down. Check the bridge to see, or check the train to see if everything's moving freely. Wonderful. And start to install those main bridge screws. Check the bridge one more time, make sure we didn't lay down those screws and mess up a pivot or jewel. Here's the mainspring barrel. It's kind of a going barrel. It's definitely not a rotor barrel, but it's in between a normal mainspring barrel and a motor barrel. It's this going barrel style with an arbor connected to that main ratchet wheel. It's one piece. We'll get a brand new white alloy automatic mainspring with a bridle. That's important. If you're getting an automatic mainspring, make sure there's a bridle on it, because if it doesn't, it's not an automatic mainspring. So Mobius 8000. And now, before I installed the mainspring, I had forgot to lubricate the inner wall of the mainspring barrel, and so you'll see right there, there was just a small slot where there was an opening to that inner wall, and so I put some 8000. So when that mainspring gets fully wound and it begins to slip doing the automatic slip, it'll have oil on it so that it doesn't bind and doesn't cause a bunch of wear. Here's the barrel bridge with the two screws. And this was an interesting click system. Initially, when I put that in there, I put it in wrong. But basically, there's a fat side to the click, and then the other side is a skinny side with a little hook. And on this click, there's a little post that sticks down that goes in that hook, and the fat side of it connects to the wall of that barrel bridge. So that gets held, and then you're basically able to ratchet this click on. It's very interesting. First time I've done it. And this is just 90-10 for the train. Normal pivot oil. And some D5 for the mainspring barrel. That was train side, this is now dial side. Get the keyless works all lubricated, as well as the date mechanism. It's important to get a little bit of oil on the main plate for the set lever, because when that ratchets back and forth, when you pull the stem in and out, it binds on that plate if the screw is screwed down tight. Get some on the center wheel for the cannon pinion. There's the cannon pinion. Very big screw for that bridge. Maybe so they didn't have to use two. Set lever bridge. Here's the date wheel. Here's one of those bridges that goes over and holds the date wheel in place, as well as that intermediate wheel in between the hour wheel and the date advancement wheel. Another one of those bridges for the date wheel. It had 3, which is uncommon. bridge for the date jumper. This is what advances the day wheel. This is the spring to the day wheel. The lever and spring to the day wheel. This is the spring to that lever for the day wheel, and it's important to put the screw down first and then put the spring in. And I learned that by doing it over and over and over again until I got it correct. And then tighten down the screw. It's a shouldered screw, by the way. So that spring can move a little bit. This is the stem. Wind it up and watch all the train wind down, make sure everything's free. And this is, I forgot what this oil is called, but it's a special Mobius Automatic Oil. And I haven't been able to find it on the Mobius website. It's just some ancient oil I found, and it works amazingly. I love it. It works really, really well. But it's called Mobius Automatic Oil. This is they're not reverser wheels, but it's a plate, and there's a there's a post on the bottom of the plate, and then there's two posts on that top part of the plate. So you put the wheels down, and there's two holes in that main train bridge so that when you automatically wind, this plate is able to go back and forth. So you can wind one way and then wind the other way. So instead of reverser wheels, this is their system. So basically, one wheel will pick up going one way, winding it, and then when you wind the other way, that wheel will drop off, and this other wheel will pick up and wind it. And here's the click to that automatic wheel, and the spring to it. And the bridge, put some more of that Mobius Automatic Oil on there. Perfect. A little bit of oil for the rotor. And also this release for the automatic rotors, very interesting as well. So we're just going to lock that rotor in there. Make sure the rotor works and transfers power down the train. Power plug in there with the bridge. Sometimes you just have to feel it. Feel that balance cock pressed down properly. A lot of times the posts on the bottom part of the balance cock are either worn or they're meant to be very thick, so when you install a balance cock, you need to press it down. Sometimes I can't feel it with the pegwood, so I need to use my finger. And here we're going to be oiling the shock system. This is an Inca block system. And this allows the jewels, if the watch were to take a serious shock, those jewels are able to lift up into the spring and move. With old pocket watches, there was no shock system. And so if you take a big shock, that balance, the staff and balance when it moves, those pivots just break off or the jewel breaks. But with the shock system, there's this cup that has the jewel in it, and then there's the cap jewel that sits on top, and then there's the spring. And so it's literally held in there by the spring. And this allows there to be some give room when it takes a big shock. Absolutely critical. Oh, and this, by the way, is the jewel in some one dip, just to clean it further. Install that cap jewel again. Throw the Inca block shock spring down. Now this is on the dial side for the balance. Those capsules are very precious. You want to make sure that they're absolutely clean. Any dirt or smudges on them will definitely affect the timing of the watch. And now you see I get a little bit of oil on the top side of the capsule on the outer side. So once I install this Inca block, I'll take some Radico and dab that oil off. It's a mistake I made, but we're able to clean it up with Radico, thank God. Now we show that locking system for the rotor. It's really interesting, I like it. So this on the underside, as you'll see, there's that ring, and then there's that lock that you're able to move. And all that ring is a spring. And so when you move the locking system, that pin essentially right there, when it presses in, that pin, there's a notch in the automatic rotor pinion. And that pin fits inside that notch, so now the rotor can't move anywhere. And there's a circular spring that when you move the locking system, it puts it in place, holds the rotor down. I don't know if you noticed, there's the pallet fork's a little bit over oil. I will unscrew the dial screws a bit so we can install that dial. Make sure this thing actually, the date is able to advance, day and date. A lot of times with the older watches, the date would advance first and then the day would advance. And it's usually just a variable of like 5 to 10 minutes, but it's something to know. See the date? And so, since that is the case, I'll install the hands on date change, and then the day can change in 5 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever the difference is. But I always put the hands when the date clicks over as opposed to the day, because it would already be the next day indicating, and then so date then day. Secretron. Now I need to find that second hand. And I looked on eBay to try to find a genuine one, but the only thing I found was a complete watch with a genuine second hand, and I didn't want to buy the whole watch for just a second hand, so I'm looking in parts. Found no part number, nothing for Secretron to try to identify what style of watch that was to find the second hand. So I find just a normal grayish, gunmetal grayish second hand and install that. It has some wear to it, which match the other hands. Secretron Automatic, 17 joule Inca block, all Swiss made. Super waterproof, 400, vacuum tested and adjusted. Day and date, hour, minute. Unfortunately, that patina came out of there, that patina loom. But it was already broken to begin with. We don't know if by taking off the hands, it was going to just drop out or not. So, things happen. Now, to clean the case, which was very, very dirty. This thing was filthy. See, the plating is coming off. Remove the bezel ring. All that is held on by is this semicircle. It has notches. You can see it there. It's a circular spring that has straight cut notches in it, or straight bends in it, so that when you press it onto the case, that spring holds it in, and so it's able to rotate in either direction too. There's no click system with it, and all the gunk on the underside of the bezel. We'll do an ultrasonic bath. Some Gem Pro. Now you want to be really, really careful when cleaning a bezel, especially using alcohol, but I thought I would try to break up some of this gunk with the alcohol and then scrape it away, but this was caked on there. And you want to be careful because that alcohol will take off paint. So definitely don't get on the front side, but also with the back side, it did not take off any paint, which was good. There was, and I tried to get all that gunk off, but it wasn't going to do it, so grab some pegwood and scrape this away. You don't want to put in the ultrasonic because that'll tear everything off of it. All of the paint will come off, or fade anyway. Now I just use some hand soap and the soft side of a sponge to try to get the rest of it. Had years of dirt on it. Alright, and then back to the case and band. Get that out of the ultrasonic and to the sink to scrub it. And just hand soap to scrub it. We got basically everything off with the ultrasonic. This is now just to get the little bit of grime that has been broken free, loose and out of there. Remember to rinse it really, really well. We're gonna hand dry before we actually go back and buff the crystal, because you'll notice here the crystal is quite worn. Has a bunch of scratches on it. Yes, the crystal's quite worn. Be sure not to leave the crystal, or leave that plexiglass crystal on the wheel too long, heat it up, and then warp the plastic crystal. Acrylic crystal, you definitely don't want that. Back to scrubbing. So then we can finally hand dry, and then put it in the dryer. Actually, here it is going right here. Automatically winding. Alright, install all that stuff into the basket, throw it in the dryer, so we can begin our drying cycle. There's the drying cycle done. That looks a lot better. We wanted to leave the wear on the case and band, but definitely get the crystal done so that you can see the watch. A lot cleaner. A lot. And yeah, the chrome plating has come off the back. That's to be expected. The watch is old. And the customer didn't want chrome plating, so to re-chrome the watch. Install that bezel tension spring. This quite literally just snaps on there. I need to buy a pad, so I used a block of pegwood, but I definitely need to get a pad to hold the movement so I can install it back into the case. That's a good sign too, when you're screwing down the set lever screw and everything is so free and lubricated nicely that when you screw down tight, the stem pops out. Everything is lubricated well and clean. The rotor just, I love it. How easy it actions. A bit of silicone on the threads of the back so that everything screws down nice and easy. "64 seconds a day fast" is quite fast, so we're going to regulate it. And also it's out of beat. First adjustment is the beat error. So we basically move the hairspring stud so that the roller jewel is absolutely in line with the pallet fork and the pallet fork jewel. Absolutely straight in line. That's how you know a watch is in beat. And we go to use the regulator to lengthen the hairspring to make it slower. And we over adjusted a bit, so now we're shortening it a bit. Just little micro adjustments. And our amplitude has increased, our beat error is 0.1, and we're 0 seconds off a day with 18,000 beat. I'd say for it's probably 60-year-old watch, I think it's doing pretty well. And this was a really pretty watch. This was really nice. I wish we would have got a genuine second hand, but I think this one will do for now. till a genuine just appears. But really a beautiful watch. I love the vintage diver style with the orange patina, matte black dial, simple brushed band with black inserts in the middle. Really nice. And the white lettering too makes everything pop. It's not common also for a diver watch to have day and date. It's usually just date or nothing at all. So, a little bit different. Thank you guys very much for the support, all the subs and likes, and all the comments you're leaving. I truly, truly, really appreciate it. I'm very new at YouTube and I'm learning as much as I possibly can. So thank you very much for your time, for the viewership, and all that you guys do. Thank you, and I hope to see you in the next video.